So, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Pune Tech community on the wonderful topic how to leverage the potential of Azure Open AI services, that studio and playground in action. Okay. So, let me introduce about me. So, I'm Janarthanan Selvaraj. I'm a technical manager as well as senior specialist at Evident. So I am three times Microsoft certified trainer, and I'm a global speaker for the global AI bootcamp community as well as the global Azure. And I used to write articles as well as blog, and I'm a researcher. And in terms of your artificial intelligence field, and I'm open source contributor as well. So currently, I'm holding a 15 multi-cloud certification in various hyperscalers. Okay. And if you want to reach out to me, please scan on this LinkedIn QR code, and you can feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm happy to help you related to the technical queries or related to any technical activity. So let's get begin. So what is this AI landscape about? Okay, so any AI landscape, we have the artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, and this new buzzword in the market, which is the generative AI. Okay. If you want to mimic any human intelligence or human behavior, we use that particular technology, which is artificial intelligence. Because this artificial intelligence, again, under this artificial intelligence, we have different subset of AI tools like machine learning, deep learning. And if you want to write any explicitly write some of the algorithm or some of the machine learning models you want to train it, then you can go for the machine learning technique. And the second one is your deep learning. The deep learning, which is a subset of your machine learning model, where we will use most of the neural networks like artificial neural network, convolutional neural network, and the recurrence neural network, where we'll be training the neural network as well as the TensorFlow model as part of the deep learning model as concerned. The new buzzword in the market, which is your generative AI, which is a subset of this deep learning model, where you can produce a lot of content generation. You want to have anything related to like a poem generation, different content generation, your email generation. If you want to classify your different types of text, or else even if you want to generate different job description, you can see that generative AI model, which is more popular in the market in the recent days. So going further, the large language model, the evolution of this large language model is more popular, and it got the popularity in the recent days. The large language model is a deep learning model where the model can understand as well as train, summarize, translate, and predict different type of content generation activities as well as capabilities, which is gained from a large massive amount of data set. So in terms of this large language model, it will be focused in multiple areas like text generation, text summarization, image generation, image variation. You can integrate your conversational artificial intelligence chatbot. You can generate code generation like a natural language to Python, natural language to SQL, and even if you want to explain any SQL code, the participant may not know about the SQL language. For them, they can make use of the feature called as Explain SQL Query, which is a part of your Codex platform. And if you are a non-native speakers, like your English speakers, but you don't know about your French language, German language, or Dutch language, but your customers are based upon those languages. If you want to translate your code into another languages, you can make use of that large language model. And there is one more model which is called as large multi-model. There are two models available. Large language model is LLM, which is for GPT-3, which is generative pre-trained transformer model, and LMM, which is your GPT-4. The meaning or the differences between your GPT-3 and GPT-4, if you want to accept only the text input, Then you can make use of the model called as LLM. And if you want to like audio based input, video based input, image based input, text based input, or even any visual input you want to make it up, then you can go for the model GPT-4. So GPT-4 is it is in the preview state. If you want to experience your GPT-4 model in your Microsoft Azure OpenAI platform, you have to send a request to the Microsoft team. They will verify your account. Based on the account access, they will give you that access for your GPT-4 in your Microsoft OpenAI Studio. So the major difference between GPT-3 and GPT-4, all text-based inputs will be for GPT-3. Any visual-based input is for GPT-4 mechanism. So in the initial days, like in Jan 2023, Microsoft has announced the Azure Open AI Studio as generally available for the users, and whoever user is requesting access based upon the Microsoft forms they use to get the access for the Open AI Studio. And slowly in the month of February, they announced the features like the Microsoft Bing search engine. They have been integrated the Copilot, the GitHub Copilot, which is the AI powered search engine. Those are the important feature the Microsoft has announced. And slowly this Microsoft has announced in the March 2023. The feature is the ChatGPT. It's still in the preview stage of Azure OpenAI Studio. And in the earlier March, that Microsoft has announced all Microsoft 365 product as a GitHub Copilot feature. For Microsoft 365 products, they have announced it. And there are upcoming some updates will come in the month of May in the Microsoft Build event. We will expect some of the new features as well. Let's wait and see for the Microsoft AI related products in the month of May. So what is this OpenAI all about? Okay, OpenAI is a company where it is based upon the AI related research, where the OpenAI company started creating a safe artificial general intelligence, which is going to benefit from all the human beings. Okay. They are creating a safe regulatory as well as compliance related standard where will utilize all the features of the artificial intelligence for all the human beings. It is not for a specific crowd. So most of the OpenAI platform, Microsoft has concern is as one of the best principle called as inclusivity principle, which emphasizes the responsible AI technology. And using this open AI technology where we can generate different types of content related to text, related to code, related to different types of languages, this open AI platform is supported. So going further, AI pair programming. If you notice that pair programming, okay, there is a concept called as pair programming in the technique extreme programming, where we have two important roles. One is the driver role, the other role is called as navigator role. The actual purpose of driver role is the person is going to write the code. That role is called as driver. The other role, which is navigator, the person who is going to inspect the code or the person who is going to improve your code, what the driver has written, that is the role of navigator. Both the roles are sharing a common workstation. These roles will be changed frequently. Now the driver will becomes navigator, the navigator will becomes driver because navigator is going to inspect the code, driver is going to write the code. Okay. Likewise, the same pair programming technique is applied in AI as well, because we are going to promote and collaborate the collective ownership of the driver role as well as the navigator role. How that is possible? With the help of the new extension of VS Code called as GitHub Copilot, which is the AI pair programming tool, which is going to provide the editor related context as well as provide the suggestion related to a code as well as improve on the code suggestions because of these three important features where the driver as well as navigator both are involved in the code development, which improvises the action in terms of your pair programming approach through GitHub Copilot. So this GitHub Copilot is generally available for all the developers. They can download and install in the VS Code plugin, where you can see the beauty of the suggestions as well as improvements of your code activities. All these features are embedded inside your GitHub Copilot. So this is a OpenAI landscape. OpenAI as well as Microsoft has started taken a partnership for creating a safe artificial intelligence. OpenAI mission ensure that the artificial general intelligence which benefits the humanity. That is a mission of OpenAI. And the mission of Microsoft empower every person and organization on the planet to achieve more with less. That is the mission of Microsoft. Both that higher end companies started having the partnership for the Azure Open AI Studio. Under the landscape, we have different models available: GPT-3, Codex, DALI. The last one is GPT, Chat GPT, and the fifth model, which is called as GPT-4, which is not there in the particular presentation. GPT-3 will generate and understand only text-based inputs. And Codex, it is going to generate and understand the code-based input or code-based prompt. And DALI, if I want to generate any images from the text to prompt, DALI can be used. For ChatGPT, if you want to generate or any human conversational responses, or even like a chatbot or even your avatars, this particular ChatGPT you can available 24/7. And the last model is GPT-4, where it understand and generate text as well as images as well. So these are the 5 models which are present as part of the OpenAI landscape as concerned. Yeah. So this is the actual model. So with the beauty of this OpenAI landscape, your generative AI model, which is a subset of your deep learning technology, where it generate different types of content generation, code generation, image generation, as well as your different large language model, as well as large multi-model, because large multi-model will be a model of GPT-4 and LLM is a model of GPT-3. So this will create a new role in the market named as prompt engineers, and the technology we will be using called as prompt engineering. Okay. So let's see the tagline. You are running for you are an entrepreneur and you are running for your own business shops. You want some fancy tagline for your in order to attract your customers so that your shop will become more popular in the market. So usually you will go and reach out to the influencers who are there in the market, ask them to promote your channel. That's how you used to do in your earlier days. So instead of the tagline generation, if you ask a question directly to the chat GPT, it will provide the responses. If you notice here, I'm writing the question, write a tagline for Pani Puri shop. Just a second. Slow. This is the prompt or the input, and you'll be able to see that the response of ChatGPT. There's a detailed response. Experience the explosion of flavors with every bite at your Pani Puri shop. So this is one of the fancy tagline which has been generated by the chat GPT. Rather than asking for the top influencers, you yourself you can influence this type of activities. No need for any other promotion. If you give some fancy taglines or any promotion, you can directly ask chat GPT to get your product more popular in the market. So are these type of input as a text-based input or not? Because this is a text-based input, and what is the model we are using in the sense GPT-3 model? And all the codex model says that I'm not aware about anything related to that SQL development, but I know how to write or how to text the input to the chat GPT. So I'm saying the table is employee is a table, and I'm saying some of the columns, and I'm asking that chat GPT to write an SQL query in terms of a complex query or in terms of simple query. The moment you start writing this particular code, it will provide a detailed response like this, okay, which is a Codex platform. Okay. So Codex platform, even the same question, if you ask this question to ChatGPT, look at the answer, what it has provided. So I'm saying the table as employee table, and I'm mentioning the columns as employee ID and employee name and salary. Look at the responses. I'm writing the question is write a SQL query to find the top 10 salaries from the employee table. So this is called as code generation. Just a second. And you can see that the complete code has been generated based on our column names which has been there, and it has explained the query as well. That is called as Codex model. The other model, which is called as DALI, where user can prompt the text and it will provide an image response. So I'm giving the prompt as an astronaut riding an horse. This is a prompt or an input I was provided here, and it is providing a response. Astronaut was riding an horse. So that is one of the realistic images, a realistic, natural, or an artificial images. Those are the major features of DALI. So let's see some of the DALI related code. Yes. So this is my DALI in the VS Code. I'm going to explain the DALI part. So I'm importing two packages now. One is the OS package. The other package I have imported as the OpenAI package. And the third step, and I have provided the OpenAI key. So key has been given, and now OpenAI is a package, image is a class, and create as a method. So there are three parameters I supposed to pass. One is the prompt, the second one is n. N is nothing but the number of images it is going to be generated. Size is called as the size of the image. And look at the response. The response will be generated in the form of URL. Okay. So let's see the result. Python, the name of the Python file. Now look at the response. The response will be in the form of your URL. Okay. So this will automatically generate a prompt. What is the prompt I am given is astronaut riding an horse. So look at the artificial image, what that machine has been generated for us. Are you able to see the astronaut part? So this is that it is not a natural image. This is an artificial image which is generated by the DALI prompt. So this is one of the way where image creation or image generation is possible with the help of DALI. The other important feature of this DALI, how will you create different image variations? I want to create a different image variation. I have already uploaded a file in my repository. So this is one of the image I have uploaded it. So let's say the different version of this image or different variation of this image. So for that, I'm using the method called as create underscore variation. Earlier case, we only created an image. Now I'm going to vary different types of images. In order to get a different variations of images, we will be using the method called as create underscore variation. And I'll open the image. N is nothing but the number of images to be generated. Size is called as the size of the image. Again, this is also going to provide the output in the form of an URL only. Let's generate this. The output has been generated in the form of URL. Let's see the result as well. Are able to find the different image variation has been generated. What was the original image I have given? If you can notice that this is my original image, and the result image, you will get some variation part. So for image generation, image creation, and image variation, you can make use of DALI platform. This again, the Microsoft has given one more platform. You want to create an attractive images. There is a tool called as Microsoft Designer, where you can ask the question like different types of prompt or different type of question. And it is also able to generate your images. Once the image has been generated, you can modify the image based upon your need. So I'm asking a question is a summer vacation party. So this is my question. What is my question is an invitation to join for a tropical themed summer kickoff party on August 9, 2023. Let's see the result. Look at what is the image it is going to be generated. Let's wait. Let's see. So these are the different various type of images has been generated. You can make this wonderful canvas where you can attract a large number of customers with the help of Microsoft Designer tool. This Microsoft Designer tool is capable of generating different images in a canvas format. And even with the help of this chat GPT, you can try different types of recipes as well. So let me try the recipe is write a recipe for rasmalai. Just again. So I just ask a recipe, it will provide the instructions as well as what are the ingredients we are supposed to do. So all your complete input as well as the response will be in the detailed format. That is, we can see the help of your chat GPT. Let it run for some time. It will take some time. So the other important aspect, if you notice, is in the under the Microsoft AI portfolio. Earlier, we do not having any OpenAI service in the cognitive services. Now, if you look at the cognitive services, OpenAI service is also added and which has been generally available for all the customers. Okay. But still, this Azure OpenAI service, it will be not available for all the customers. Still, it is in the private preview. If you want to access it, you have to provide a request access. Then only this will be available for your purpose. Let's see whether it has been generated or not. Still waiting. So we have to wait for some time because most of the users are using the chat GPT. So I'm using GPT-3 version. Let's see. Hmm. So you can see rasmalai is a more popular Indian dessert with the cheese curd balls. What are the ingredients as well as your instructions, the complete information you can get it. So this is done. Next, this is also we done, right? Like generation, image variation using DALI platform. And we've done the DALI hands-on as well. And even if you want to generate any resume as well, the chat GPT will provide a proper professional resume. I'm asking a question. Write a professional resume for AI with 15 years of experience. So this will provide a detailed template. You can fill wherever the respective part. The same question, if you're trying to ask, because Microsoft has its own um search engine called as Microsoft Bing. Earlier, if you notice the Microsoft Bing down the line 20 years, it's just a search engine. Now, this Microsoft Bing is not a search engine. It is a AI powered search engine. Even you can text or even you can chat this Microsoft Bing in a chat mode. Chat mode is also available. And if you ask a question like a different type of question, you want to plan for your anniversary trip, different types of ideas for your kids. Okay. Or else if you want to write any rhythming poem, or else how to make a plan for a fishing trip, all the idea generation, all the different types of content generation, your Microsoft Bing will able to provide. And look at the result. I'm asking a question, create a three course menu. Let's see the result in the Microsoft Bing. You can notice in the right hand side, the starter, main menu, the dessert. Okay. So all these answers you will able to see in the Microsoft Bing at different types of reactions you can react in the Microsoft Bing as well because it is an AI powered copilot. It is not only a search engine, this Microsoft Bing, it will act nowadays as a chat mode also. We can provide just more a human conversational response you will get using Microsoft Bing search engine. Suppose if you are planning for a trip in the month of September, and you can ask like from what are the best places in London, what are the preferred places, and what are the best destination places in London. The every information you can get it in a human related conversation using a Microsoft Bing as well. Okay. So with this, we have done that the generative AI model like DALI is done on ChatGPT and your Codex model. Let's see how this service we can leverage as part of your Microsoft Azure Open AI as concerned. So different services are available as part of a cognitive services. One of the service in cognitive services called as Azure Open AI Studio. Okay. So Azure Open AI Studio is considered as one of the cognitive services which is generally available. So what are the different offerings your Microsoft Azure Open AI Studio is provided in a sense in terms of content generation, in terms of summarization, in terms of code generation and semantic search. These are the four broader categories. Under the four broader categories, we have seen the different types of use cases. In terms of code generation, if you want to convert any natural language to SQL or natural language to Python, or even if you want to create any documentation, you can go for Codex platform. And in terms of summarization, if you want to summarize any customer support conversation, you have a conversation between the user and the customer about some problem. All those conversation you can record as a transcript or any action item or any action plan has to take place. Your chat GPT, which is your Azure OpenAI service, it is able to provide it. And even if you want to summarize any document related to any financial reports or any article you want to get it off, the text summarization is again used. And if you want to summarize any social media trends, also this Azure OpenAI service will provide. So let's see that those offerings as a part of a use case in the Azure OpenAI Studio. So under Azure Open AI Studio, there are two models available. One is called as the GPT-3 model. The second model is called as Codex model. Under GPT-3, we have Adobe, Babbage, Curie, and DaVinci. Compared to the GPT-3 model, like four models, which model will be more popular and you'll be getting exact accuracy score in the sense DaVinci model will be more popular. Similarly, in Codex model also, the DaVinci will be more popular. So other models you can use for normal calculation or normal a simple manipulation you want to perform. You will not get that much exact accurate responses if you use Adobe Babbage or Curie. If you use DaVinci in GPT-3 model as well, DaVinci in a Codex model, you will get the exact accuracy as in terms of responses. So DaVinci is the best model in terms of different use cases like text generation, text summarization, your content generation. You can go for the DaVinci model. So which model will be popular? As I mentioned already, the GPT-3, it is for the text. So text is the model name. And this is called as your submodel, which is a DaVinci. And 001 is nothing but the identifier. So this is the main model, this is a submodel, and this is called as identifier. Similarly for Codex, code is the main model, submodel is DaVinci, and 002 is nothing but the identifier. So Microsoft recommends that both in GPT-3 as well as Codex, the popular model is called as DaVinci, is a more popular model, and you will get that accurate responses in the DaVinci model only. So let's see that Azure Open AI capabilities, and I'll explain in the OpenAI Studio itself. So how will you create a OpenAI Studio in a sense? Just go to Azure OpenAI, just click the button create. First, you have to provide the subscription and you have to give that resource group name. I'm providing the resource group name. Let's say test, let's say insurance RG. So insurance RG is a resource group I have given and I have to provide the name. Let's say insurance 2804 and pricing tier. We have to choose it and next, next, next. Once the validation passed, you can hit the button create. So the deployment started now, and in a minute or two, this will become successful. Once this is successful, what we will do in a sense, I have already created a resource called as retail AI. Okay. In the retail AI, you can see there is an option called as explore option. So the same resource you can explore in the Azure OpenAI Studio. Just click the button explore. The moment you click the button explore, it will have two playgrounds. One playground called as completion playground. The other playground called as ChatGPT playground, which is in the preview mode. Let's see both the playgrounds. Just a second. You can notice there are two playgrounds available. Completion playground, which is GPT 3.5 and chat playground, which is for the ChatGPT. So how to create a completion playground? So in order to create a completion playground, so what we will do, just click the completion playground button. Here, the name which I have already created. What is the name I already created? Is Retail Chat GPT, the name already created. How to create a new deployment? Just click the deployment icon, create a new deployment. So here you have to choose a service. As I mentioned earlier, so we have two models. One is your GPT-3 all a text model, and the other one is called as Codex. We have a Code DaVinci 002. Okay. And for your ChatGPT, GPT 3.5 Turbo. This is for ChatGPT. So I'm going to use a model name as let's say Code DaVinci 002 because for a your DaVinci model in terms of your Codex, I'm going to use it. So the name of the model deployment name I'm creating is mod sample 2804. This is a model I'm creating now. So once the model is created, the deployment is created successfully. Just click this. The moment you click it, you click for the completion button. In the completion button, choose the name called as sample 2804. here you can see that list of use cases available. The first use case what we are going to see is natural language to SQL. So this is my input. So I'm giving the input as Postgres SQL and employee, department, salary, payment. These are the table names and the column names. And I'm giving a question. A query to list the name of the department which is employed more than 10 employees in the last 3 months. So automatically this will generate a code. What happened? Okay, so you can notice that API deployment model for this resource, it will take how much time, in a sense, within last 5 minutes it has to take, then only it is possible to deploy. So I already created a model called Retail Chat GPT model. So let's see the result now. Are able to see the result? It is generated by the Azure Open AI Studio. This is one of the use case. The second use case is you can go for natural language to Python. You can give your own question here and the program question input output I have given. This is my input and I need to write a Python code to reverse a string. So this will provide a detailed response. And what are the third use cases? Explain SQL query. You can give your own query. This will automatically explain that complex SQL query here. Look at the explanation. So these three use cases related to the category called as your Codex platform. You can call it as code generation. The other one is, as I mentioned earlier, if you want to generate any job description, any fancy job description uh, for your own advertisement company or any company as concerned. So I want to generate a fancy job description. Write a job description for the following job title: business analyst. The job description should outline the major responsibilities like qualification, highlight the benefits like is it a flexible working hours or how to apply to this particular position. So this is my prompt or the input. Look at the response. The entire response it will provide in a detailed manner. So this is to attract the multiple or a multi-talented employees to get this particular job post or not. So this is also one of the use case. The other use case, which is called as you want to generate a fancy email, like you will given a scenario and what will be the subject line of the email and what will be the body of the email, okay, for a product launch company, and what is the product and what is the price, where you'll able to find this product. So that email generation is also possible with the help of this GPT-3 playground. So this will reduce your normal L1 related queries. This will make your work in an easier manner. And similarly, you want to generate a product description for your own product. Okay, let's see how the product has been generated with this different type of description. So it is generating a product description, job description, and email is also generated. And you want to generate some quiz related questions. Will this GPT-3 playground will do it? Yes, it will do it. You can give give a lengthy paragraph, lengthy comprehension. Ask this your GPT-3 completion playground to generate some questions. It will generate questions as well. You can see the question with multiple choices, question with multiple choices. So this is under which category? In the sense, this is under your question generation category. So we are seeing the models like what are the models we are seeing so far as code generation, and we are seeing something called as product related generation also. We have seen it. Similarly, we can generate some text summary for your customer related conversation. Example, you want to see a summary for that issue resolution for a customer. This is a conversation. There's a user and the agent. Okay. So what was the conversation? So user is off between August 25 and September 11, and you want to save a trip for like a 4,000, a nice trip. Okay. Some location, and there's a conversation between the user and the agent. And what was the summary I need is what is the customer problem, what is the outcome of this particular conversation, and what are the action items, and what is the customer budget, and what is the departure city and destination city. For this type of template, you want to generate a summary. Similarly, you can use this particular use case in your real-time scenarios, like the user and the customer, or the user and the client, where you want to note all the action items. What is your who is responsible, who is accountable, who will be responsible for that. All your complete report generation or summary generation, you can make use of this GPT-3 playground. So from the conversation, it is going to generate a customer problem. It is going to generate outcome of the conversation. What are the action items for follow-up, customer budget, what is the departure city, and what is the destination city. This will automatically saves our time. Okay, rather than if you want to record the session and you need to go to the recording and you need to get those points. Rather, if you use this particular feature in your application, this will save a huge amount of time. And you can see a huge differences by applying this feature in your real-time scenarios. And similarly, if you want to summarize a key point from a financial document or financial report, like this is one of the comprehension report. From this, you want to extract the key financial number. What are the internal risk factors and what are the external risk factors you want to generate it? Is it possible to generate from this use case in the sense? Answer is yes. You'll be able to generate it. You can see the key financial numbers, what are the internal risk, what are the external risk factors. That is also possible. So likewise, whenever you have a team meeting in your respective project, someone will be the moderator. He will be summarize. He will be taking that complete minutes of meeting, and what is the action item, and who is accountable, what is the action item date. Rather than using, you can integrate this particular feature in a Microsoft Teams, where it will generate the entire report. So likewise, we have done the summarization part, generation, your different types of codex platform like natural language to SQL, natural language to Python, and explain SQL query. There are other features like how to translate the text. Okay, you may be having different types of English language. You want to translate the following language to French, Spanish, German, or Dutch. Is it possible? Answer is yes. So all these are nothing but the completion generation playground, which is called as your GPT-3 playground. So you can see the completed text in the French language, and you can see like a thank you in French is called as merci. Okay. So this is a statement statement related to a French, and still it is generating for Spanish as well. So as of now, we completed till GPT-3 playground. The last playground we will see is called a ChatGPT. So is ChatGPT is possible to apply in your Azure Open AI Studio? Answer is yes. For that, you have to click that playground called as Chat Playground. Okay. So under the Chat Playground, you can see the list of available knowledge bases here. Like this is a knowledge base which is trained for the Shakespeare related assistant, IRS text tax chatbot, marketing writing assistant, your Xbox customer agent, hiking recommendation chatbot, or even you can have your own knowledge base and you can integrate in this your chat playground as well. Okay. And there is something called as clear chat. If you want to clear that chat, you can clear it. And if you want to view the code in Python, C Sharp, Curl, JSON, you can able to view it. And you can integrate the same code in your C Sharp. You can integrate the code in Python and curl as well. So let's type the question. I'm typing the question the same, like how we have an external chat GPT interface, the same type of question. You can type it in that chat playground in Azure Open AI Studio as well. Are you able to see that answers? Ingredients, instructions. So one more question I'm asking, how to apply for personal loan and its requirements. Let's see the user message. You can see the respective result responses. So both your ChatGPT Playground as well as GPT-3 Playground are possible to integrate under your Azure OpenAI Studio. So with this, we have different types of capabilities like content generation we have seen, summarization, code generation, semantic search. Okay. So not only that, this Azure OpenAI along with your GPT-3 or else your GPT-4 ChatGPT Playground. So other uh, competitors are also available in the market, like Google has Bard and LG has its own X1, Nvidia has Megatron, and Google Plum. These are this many number of parameters, which means this huge amount of data they have trained inside the ChatGPT. If you notice ChatGPT 3.5, 175 billion parameters have been trained. So for all these OpenAI Studio, we have to follow the standard called as responsible AI as well as ethical AI. You have to adhere to the principles like fairness. It should be working for everyone. We have to include all type category of people. Your data should be secure. Your data should be reliable. Your data should be safety. It should be transparent. We have to be accountable for whatever for the amount of data we use to generate all your responsible AI principle as well as ethical AI principles we have to follow for the Azure OpenAI Studio. And some of the sectors are already started open using the Azure OpenAI Studio. And if you notice that most of the retail as well as the technology-driven businesses are already started using the OpenAI Studio. These are some of the statistics information. And that's it. And this is one of the funny part. Over to you, Nandit. Done.